It is finally here. I've been waiting so long. A new series of Fate is out. Fate, Strange, Fate. Yes, the naming schemes of the Fate series could be called into question, I reckon. But it is a series that I love, a franchise that I absolutely love. I've never played the games, I've never read the novels, but the anime is a top 10 anime for me. I don't know if anyone shares that opinion. I'll be real here, I'm not sure how well this video is going to do. I don't know how many people love this series the way I do, but it's a top 10 anime for me, and that's why I'm including this as a bonus video on the channel. I have to gush about it and I have to talk about it because there are 2 episodes of the new season out. We get Gilgamesh back. We get brief looks at Enkidu, Gilgamesh's biggest rival, is out. We get a new male Saber that's looking really, really badass and has a personality that seems to be quite interesting, and I'm really liking where it's going with it. We get badass priests, the next Kirei. We get a police officer captains holding noble phantasms. We get an awesome looking look, a sick character design of Assassin. At least I'm assuming it's Assassin. She looks absolutely badass. Easily the coolest looking assassin I've ever seen, I reckon. And I can't wait to explore her character more, especially. But I don't know how long this video is going to be, guys. We're just shooting the shit here. These are non-scripted. So let's see how we go. Biggest part of the reveal. Gilgamesh is back. I'm joking. He's in every series of Fate. But except Fate Apocrypha, a very, very underrated anime that I heavily suggest you guys go and watch. It was an amazing fight. That's an anime where there's 14 heroic spirits. It is amazing. Dracula's in there. Kana is so good in it. Achilles is in it. Go and watch it. Finish this video first, then go and watch it. But we get introduced to the big talking point for me is we get introduced to a male Saber that seems to kind of appear like King Arthur. He wields Excalibur. And guys, we see Excalibur said in the first episode. That's usually like a 8-episode thing in where we'll hear Artoria scream Excalibur. But in this one, he whips it out just willy-nilly just to defeat some no-name people. Well, it's not no-name. He's using it against Assassin. But at this stage, he wasn't pressed very hard. He's just like, I'm going to deal with you. But who is this mystery man? I have deliberately not gone to look into it. I was thinking about it. I'm like, oh, should I cheat and look into who it is? But I want to be as surprised as everyone. We see that he talks about in the name of King Arthur. So you would imagine that he himself isn't King Arthur. Now, who could he be? My biggest guess is that he's going to be a male version of Mordred. Now, we see Mordred in... you might be thinking, Jack, Mordred's a dude in the poems of stuff with King Arthur and Merlin and stuff like that. But in Fate Apocrypha, which was the first one that came out, Mordred is a girl, at least physically. She identifies as a man. Does she? Is there a pronoun? I don't know if her pronouns are ever brought up, but she looks like a girl. Just like Artoria from Fate Stay Night and Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works and Fate Zero, another one that's in a lot of them. But I reckon he's a male version of Mordred, because we know that they come from the Hall of Heroes, the heroic spirits. And we know that weird things can happen. Heroes from the future can be summoned. Heroes can be male and female. There's different alternate realities. It's a very confusing world, and I can understand why that's a big reason people can't get into the show and they're put off by it. It's kind of hard to know where to get into it. For me personally, I would go, look, Fate Stay Night, the first one, it's good. The art's a little bit shaky in today's standards, but it's good to see Shiro go down a love route with Saber, Artoria. But you could probably get away with just watching. I would do. You know what? I would do Fate Zero first. That's the one that comes first, even though it's made afterwards. Then Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works. Then I would do Fate Apocrypha. Then it's a long name, but Fate Babylon, where it goes into Gilgamesh's past. and they fight Tiamat and stuff like that. It's a big long title. I just call it Fate Babylon. There's also another Fate series where it's like in King Arthur's time, in like a medieval type of time. I haven't watched that yet. I keep forgetting it. That's something I need to look at as well. But those ones I just listed, that's how I'd watch it, and then I'd get into this one if you haven't seen any of the stuff yet. If you haven't seen any of the stuff yet, what are you doing here though, guys? This is probably for the small select group of the YouTube community that really love the Fate series. Fate series, is that that's just a term I've coined, at least in my mind. I don't know if other people call it that, but I think it's a good enough way to describe the whole franchise as a whole. But who else could he be? Who else could this mysterious Saber be? I reckon it's Mordred, just because it makes the most sense. You know, if we look at the other Knights of the Round Table, there's Lancelot, but we've seen him in other Fate shows, and I don't think it's him. He looks very different. There is Gawain. It could be him. I don't remember him ever wielding Excalibur. It could be... Who else do we have at the Round Table? We have Percival. It could be him. I don't know if there's any knowledge on Percival in the Fate series. Like I said, with that kind of spin-off one with King Arthur's realm. But I reckon it has to be Mordred, or maybe even something like Arthur's son. Maybe it's a real alternate timeline. But I can't wait to see who it is. And we find out that his master isn't technically his master, because I forget her name, blonde hair, glasses, she seems to be the MC. She seems to kind of have been brainwashed by the von Einsberns. I believe that's how you pronounce it. The family with white hair of Homunculi. Ilya, I believe her name was the girl in Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works who was part of that family. Correct me if I'm wrong there on the name. But she seems to kind of be like manipulated by them, which is, you know, a very interesting plot element here. Like, what's so special about this MC girl that is in need of the von Einsberns to be manipulating her? But we all, and you know, I don't want to leave this new Saber. His personality is so interesting because we often see Sabers be very kind of stoic and very kind of calm and very kind of just serious. But he's quite joyful, I would like to say, and he's honorable. He destroys a theater and he's like, police, arrest me, I've got my hands up, I'm not going to hurt anyone. And he willingly gets carted off to jail. It is the first, Assassin even says it, I believe. It is the first time I've ever seen a heroic spirit go to jail. But he does that because he thinks that he needs to pay back his debts for destroying the theater, which I think is a really nice, compelling point to his character. A little bit more happy and outgoing than other Sabers of past. So I reckon that's a very nice touch to it. We get introduced to a priest that seemed to be a little bit mechanical. There's this scene where like his arm kind of moves in a weird, inhuman way. And he's kind of, not maybe a Kirei in being a psychopath, but he's like the power of the church, because we know the church oversees the Holy Grail Wars. So he seems to be really interesting. At the end of episode 2, we see him throw coffee at did I say season 2? Episode 2. We see him throw coffee at a vampire. Yes, there are vampires in the Fate series. I have heard mention of them being in it, but I think this is the first one we ever actually see be one. I don't believe Sakura's grandfather counts. Zato Mato, something like that. I know Mato's their last name. He doesn't count. This seems to be like a shoot vampire. There's a very important character in the lore of Fate, the Fate series, who is a vampire as well, I believe. Stuff to do with the second magic or the third magic. We don't need to get into that in today's video. But he appears and he's taken out all these guys. He's really powerful. These people that he's fighting are the police department. And you might be thinking, Jack, what on earth, the police department? Someone just went off to prison. What are these police on? They're all on steroids or something. But the chief of the police, he's one of the masters of the Holy Grail, and he has summoned Castor, the heroic spirit. We don't know who it is yet. Really don't like the way he looks. I don't know who it could be. It may be some inventor, because he's all about using the internet and stuff like that, which I feel like is pretty cool. And from the way he was speaking, he seemed to have made makeshift noble phantasms for all this police department. Like, there's a goon of like 20 police officers, and they're taking out this vampire. They're fighting him. They were fighting Assassin first, but we'll get into Assassin at the end. Little bit of retention baiting here, because her, I think we have a new waifu coming. She is looking fierce. But they're fighting this vampire, and he's taken out all these noble phantasms, and he's making short work of them all. And he then the priest throws coffee on him, and that's where episode 2 ends. So we're going to see a clash between vampire and priest, overseer. And that's one big takeaway I've taken from these first 2 episodes. All the masters seem really powerful. They're not like beating servants, but they're fighting on the same level of servants, which I feel like is pretty cool. It gives them a little bit more individuality, making it not just all about the heroic spirit. But we need to talk about it. We won't. All I was mentioning about Gilgamesh is there. Enkidu we know is there from like the anime opening. That's going to be cool. He seems to have been summoned by a child that, stuff's going on with her family and her race and stuff like that. So that's going to be an interesting thing. He's playing at the casino, winning money and stuff. That'll be interesting. We'll see where that goes. We'll leave the Gilgamesh baiting for another episode. The queen I want to talk about, though, is, I'm just going to call her Assassin. I don't know who she is. We know that she is a descendant of the Hazangul people. Is that what they're called? The Men of the Mountain. The assassins that we see in Fate Zero. The way she's talking, she seems to be like a future member of their clan of assassins. But she's got like this big energy arm that comes out that like rips people in half. She's buzzing around the battlefield. She is looking really, really cool. She's got like this veil over her nose going down her face, leaving just her eyes with like a hood over. We see like her black hair. She's got these like urban eyes. The character design on her is really, really sweet. Very simplistic, but it definitely captures the weight of what, like, you see her and you're like, this is a great character. I can't wait to see what she does. And she fights. She is apparently the servant of the vampire. There's some weird shenanigans going on there, because she had said that she hadn't had a master, and she had like killed the people that summoned her. But the vampire is apparently her master, because he uses a command seal as she goes to attack him, and her hood pops off and we see what she looks like, and he says, disappear to the furthest possible distance away from this current location, and she gets forced to flee away. But from what we can see of her personality, she really doesn't like being used by others. So the master-servant relationship of the Holy Grail really doesn't do her personality any favors. And she speaks about wanting to redeem the Hazan assassins that came before her. So, she doesn't even want the Holy Grail to make a wish. So I reckon that is really cool as well, that her desire, her own wish doesn't even need to be fulfilled by the Holy Grail. She just wants to bring respect and honor back to her clan of assassins. So I think she was really, really good. She's the one that first had a fight with the Saber, where he just whips out the Excalibur. She was thankfully able to get away, which I thought was cool. A powerful attack like Excalibur wasn't enough to defeat her, so I'm very interested to see where she's at. So we have Caster, who can like make noble phantasms. We have Saber, who's throwing out Excaliburs left, right, and center. That is joyful for a Saber and looks really, really interesting. We have Assassin, easily the sweetest looking assassin that we've ever seen. And we have the vampire. Yes, a vampire. He's not a spirit. We have Gilgamesh, so that's 4. We have Enkidu, which is 5. Do we have any more? I don't believe we saw any others, but it's always possible that there's more than 7. A lot of the time, shenanigans go on and there's more than 7 heroic spirits. But I really, really am curious to see where this goes. It's set in America of all places, so we have some different environment than the usual Japan settings, which I think is really, really cool. The art in it is amazing. All the characters look just so crisp. The movement, the choreography, the action. This might be my favorite anime of the year. We'll see how it goes. The new season of JoJo's is coming out, and season 3 of Jujutsu Kaisen is out. This is going to be a banger year for content. and I really want to cover all these new ones as they're coming out. Oh, sorry, not full episode reviews unless that's something you guys want, but just taking details out of every episode and, spending 15-20 minutes talking about it. I keep going Fate Stay Night. The Fate series is one of my top 10 favorite anime of all time. I've gushed about that fact enough. I don't think this video is going to do very well. In my heart of hearts, I really hope it does, because I would love to make this a core anime on this channel to talk about, and I can learn even more about this with everyone else too. So I reckon that'd be a really, really cool idea. But I'm loving what Saber's looking like. I'm loving what Assassin is looking like. I'm interested in what the vampire's gonna do. And if you guys like the Fate series, this is the place to be, because we're going to be talking about it every week. Maybe in bonus episodes where we do two at once. But guys, have a lovely night, everyone.